Hello there, Homeschool Nolan here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. In one of my previous videos, I shared some thoughts on the importance of getting into an Ivy League or an elite college based on my experience as an Ivy League alum. But I realized that times have changed since I graduated from college way back in the 1990s. One noticeable difference is that it seems a lot harder than ever now to get into one of these schools. And today, I'd like to share some thoughts on why getting into the Ivy League and elite colleges is harder than before. There's no question that, at least statistically speaking, getting into one of these schools is harder than ever. If I remember correctly, back when I was applying to college, the acceptance rate to Princeton and Stanford were about 10 to 12%. Today, that number has plummeted down to about 4%. And anecdotally speaking, I've noticed that some of the children of my college classmates who applied to Princeton weren't able to get in. So what's going on here? Are college applicants today smarter and more talented than before? Or is the general population increasing? I decided to do some research, which included reading this interesting book, Guilty Admissions by Nicole Laporte. And I found that there are three important trends making it harder than ever to get into one of these colleges today. The first important trend is the common application. I didn't realize until recently that today you can apply to multiple Ivy League schools and colleges at once using a single common application. All it takes is a few clicks of the mouse to send the same application to multiple schools. Back in my day, there was no such thing as a common application. You had to apply to each school individually and write unique essays for each. Obviously, the common application makes it easier to apply to more schools, and this drives up the number of applications to each school. By driving up the number of applications, these universities can make their acceptance rates a lot lower and make their schools seem a lot more selective, even if the overall quality of the applicants is about the same. The second trend I see is what I call evolving admissions criteria. It used to be that the two most important criteria for getting into a good college were GPA and standardized test scores. But once most applicants started boasting 4.0 GPAs and high test scores, the colleges then started to emphasize being well-rounded. Being well-rounded is how I and many of my other peers got into good colleges. When I was in high school, I had straight A's and decent test scores. I was also well-rounded by competing in speech and debate, track and field, and volunteering in my community. I was above average, but by no means the best of the best in any particular field. But that was good enough to get me into a good college. But today, admissions offices are flooded with thousands of well-rounded applicants. Ambitious high school students today all know that they need to check off a long list of extracurricular activities in order to look well-rounded and competitive. Because of this, elite colleges now are instead looking more for elite talent in particular fields. They're looking for the national champion or top-ranked performer in a sport, musical instrument, or science competition. Instead of looking for well-rounded students, they now want a well-rounded student body instead. I'm only half joking when I say to my son that if he wants to get into Princeton as a homeschooler, he's going to have to do something like become a nationally ranked chess player or state champion in swimming. Obviously, being elite in any particular field is much harder than being well-rounded. And that's one reason why it seems harder to get into an elite college these days. But the third and perhaps most important trend I see is that greater parental involvement is making the competition to get into college much fiercer. Some of you may have heard of Operation Varsity Blues, the college admissions scandal from a few years ago, where an independent counselor and coach named Rick Singer used bribery and deceit to help the children of wealthy parents get into college. What struck me most about the scandal is just how crazy and fanatical many parents have become when it comes to getting their kids into good schools. You see, when I was growing up, my friends and I, we had parents who pushed us and supported us too, and wanted us to get into good colleges. But nobody I knew had a private tutor, independent counselor, or a life coach. When I was a kid, tutors were for kids who were falling behind. Nobody I knew used a private tutor to get ahead. Today, it's quite normal for kids who are doing well to have private tutors. Parents today will go through great lengths to make sure their kids have every advantage possible to get into a good college. And the craziness doesn't start in high school. It now often starts way back in preschool as parents, particularly wealthy parents, maneuver to get their young child into the right private preschool, which feeds into the right exclusive private elementary school, which in turn eventually feeds into the right prep school for college. Parents compete with one another through their kids, and they instinctively know that just getting into any average state or public university will no longer guarantee their kids a successful future. All of this pressure coming from parents that didn't exist 30 years ago is another reason why getting into the Ivy League and elite colleges is harder than ever. Now, before I conclude, there is one more trend that I'd like to mention that may make it harder or easier for you to get into college, depending on your background. And that is the trend of IDE, inclusion, diversity, and equity. Colleges today are all talking a big game about being more inclusive and diverse to bring about more equity. This means accepting more students from more diverse backgrounds and from communities that have been underrepresented in the past. If you're a member of one of these communities, then your chances of getting into an elite college may actually be a little bit better than before. Now, I won't attempt to list which of these communities may give you an advantage. What I will say is that if you happen to be a white or Asian male from an upper middle class family, then your background probably won't give you any advantage. But regardless of your background, getting into one of these schools is a tremendous achievement. And in my opinion, the world of college admissions is a microcosm of the fiercely competitive world we live in. No matter which school you get into, the entire process of applying to college in itself can provide important life lessons. And I hope this video has been helpful as you or your child navigate your own path to higher education. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And please click subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.